In 1970, marijuana was classified as a Schedule I substance in the United States. This strict categorization meant marijuana was completely prohibited and considered to have no recognized medical benefits. For decades, this classification significantly hindered research into marijuana's effects and mechanisms. Today, there's broad recognition of marijuana's therapeutic potential, with many countries having legalized or being in the process of legalizing its use for medical purposes. However, despite growing acceptance in medical contexts, the debate over marijuana's suitability for recreational use remains unresolved. Marijuana impacts the brain through its interaction with the body's cannabinoid system. This system consists of receptors spread throughout the brain and is naturally influenced by chemicals produced by the body, known as endocannabinoids. While our understanding of the cannabinoid system is incomplete, one unique feature stands out. Endocannabinoids function differently from typical neurotransmitters. Usually neurotransmitters move forward across synapses, sending messages from one neuron to another. Endocannabinoids, however, move in the reverse direction. When a neuron receives a message, it releases endocannabinoids, which travel back to the original neuron to regulate its activity. Scientists believe the primary function of the endocannabinoid system is to modulate or fine-tune neural signals, strengthening some messages and weakening others. This feedback loop generally slows down neural signaling, but this doesn't always translate into slower behavior or perception. For instance, slowing signals that inhibit sensory perception might enhance senses such as smell. Marijuana contains two primary active components: tetrahydrocannabinol or THC and cannabidiol or CBD. THC is primarily responsible for marijuana's psychoactive effects, influencing behavior, perception, and cognition. Conversely, CBD does not produce psychoactive effects. THC binds to cannabinoid receptors like endocannabinoids, but tends to broadly reduce neural signaling. Unlike naturally occurring endocannabinoids, which are released selectively in response to specific stimuli, THC affects the entire cannabinoid system simultaneously. Individual reactions to marijuana vary greatly, depending on genetic makeup, brain chemistry, and life experiences. Because the cannabinoid system interacts with numerous bodily functions, marijuana's effects differ substantially from person to person. This complexity contrasts significantly with drugs affecting one or a few biological pathways. Certain factors, however, predict increased risk of negative outcomes. Age is particularly important, as individuals under 25 have a higher concentration of cannabinoid receptors in the brain's white matter, which is critical for learning and communication. Regular marijuana use in young people can disrupt the development of new neural connections and interfere with white matter integrity, potentially impairing long-term learning. Although it's unclear if this damage is permanent, the risk is notably higher for younger users. Additionally, marijuana can trigger psychotic episodes, including hallucinations or paranoia. Typically, these symptoms subside once marijuana use stops, but in rare cases, psychosis persists. Young adults and individuals with a family history of psychotic disorders such as schizophrenia are particularly vulnerable. Given that psychotic disorders commonly appear in young adulthood, it's difficult to determine if marijuana directly triggers these conditions or merely accelerates an underlying predisposition. Like many substances, prolonged marijuana use leads to decreased sensitivity, requiring higher doses to achieve the same effect. Fortunately, marijuana does not pose a lethal overdose risk, and withdrawal symptoms, though present, are relatively mild compared to other drugs. Symptoms like insomnia, irritability, and mild depression typically resolve within a few weeks after stopping use. Ultimately, whether marijuana is harmful to the brain depends on individual circumstances. Some risk factors, such as age and genetic predisposition, are clear, while others remain poorly understood, meaning adverse effects can still occur even in the absence of identifiable risk factors. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more topics.